Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about January 2023 and what I foresee this year, this new year is going to bring all of us, because this is a very important year. This is a year of change. Of course, you can say everything's about change, but I have some very key, poignant points that I want to point out about all the big changes and transitions that we are all about to go through this year of 2023. So before I proceed, I want to remind everyone to sign up for my free newsletter, because in this newsletter, you will get this entire dissertation with all the dates and times that I see everything really transforming our world this year in 2023. So go to galacticcenter.org, and while you're there, please notice that I have a brand new magazine, Joni Patry's Astrology Insights, where you can gather even more detailed information from amazing authors from around the world. So that's all. You can see this on my website, galacticcenter.org. And one more thing, January is the month that I'm starting a brand new class for the University of Vedic Astrology. If you've always wanted to learn astrology, go to my university website, which is universityofvedicastrology.com. Now, last but not least, if you want to get my whole predictions, all of my predictions in a nutshell, but everything in detail, for the year, you can purchase the recording of my world predictions 2 to 3 hour class, and all of that, you'll see that on galacticcenter.org. So now I want to get going and really dig in to what I foresee. January is really going to be a month that starts it all off. Usually we have a slow start, but not this year. This year, January, explodes into so many different things, because, so many things have been building throughout the past year of 2022, building and building to a crescendo, as I said, the last month of 2022. Now we see the eruption from it all, because here's what's happening this month there's so many monumental things. One thing I think that's so important is that Mercury and Mars are about to turn direct within the same week. And while they're turning direct, they are actually aspecting each other from the same degree. That is one of the most incongruent aspects that we can have. It's called the quincunx. So they're in a 6-8 relationship to each other, which means they are very dysfunctional. Now, what does that mean? Mercury is the planet of our communications, mass communications. We're not just talking about talking to each other. We're talking about how information around the world, it connects us all. So therefore, Mercury rules all forms of communications, which is the media, computers, telephones, television, and of course, our one-on-one communications with each other. And it is all coming to a head where we realize now that the communications that the world wants us to believe is not necessarily the truth. But remember, when I get down to what the truth really is, it's different for a lot of us, because our truths are going to be in accordance to what we believe. Now, what we believe, we have pretty much been taught. It's been handed down. We've been taught. And of course, what we hear. And the media around the world is so totally aware of its power to control ideas in the minds of the masses. Now we're all being aware of how we've been controlled. Now, as Mars is shifting to turn direct, Mars has been retrograde since October 30th, 2022, and now it's slowing down and shifting directions to turn direct. Now, I think this is really important that Mars is turning direct around the same time Mercury is turning direct. When planets are retrograde, they dig up things from the past. So all this time, Mars has been brewing and churning and bringing up all these issues from the past that pretty much makes people angry. So there's been a lot of discord and anger and things surfacing from the past. And I get Mercury is about the communications. Now, it is no accident that all these discoveries are coming out. And, even Elon Musk has so much to do with what's happening. But it's not just that. This has been happening for a while, and we're all becoming aware of our truths and our beliefs and what has fueled that. And things are about to change, because when planets change directions, such as this Mercury and Mars, they've been going backwards, digging up all the old. But now when they're turning direct, people change their minds. The thinking process changes from retrograde, the past, to moving forward now. And this discordant aspect that both Mercury and Mars are in together represents there is a lot of confusion. A lot of us have believed a certain thing, and all of a sudden, when our beliefs change, it creates great confusion in our minds, because one thing we were set on, all of a sudden, everything's been turned upside down. So it's like a glass of water that with the dirt on the bottom, it's just been stirred up. There's so much confusion going on. And now that the planets are direct, this confusion is going to start to settle, and we're going to see clearly. And guess what? We're going to start seeing the truth. Now, the 6-8 relationship called the quincunx, or it's also called the inconjunct, and I think that's interesting because it is not everything's kind of thrown up in the air, and it's discordant. It's out of harmony. It's not in balance. And 6 can represent problems, difficulties, enemies, the 6th house in astrology. The 8th house is the house of death and endings and transformation and scandals. Throw that together, and that's the mix that we're dealing with this month. And so everything's in an uproar, but at least we're starting to move forward with it all now. What's been dug up, now we have some facts to work with, to deal with. There are so many realizations that are coming about this month. And these realizations are now going to bring what we need, resolution to it all. We will get results this year. So everyone, here's what I want you to know as well. Aside from global affairs and what's going on, this is a year when all of us are going to be faced with getting in touch with who we really are and coming to terms with our truths. And this will actually change our sense of our own identity throughout this year. That's massive. That's gigantic. We're all in this together, and we're all going through a major transformation in ourselves that is affecting global consciousness, the masses in the world. So here's another thing that I think is a massive keyword for this year. Massive freedom. We want to be free in how we believe and make our own judgments. So freedom is going to be the key word that you're going to hear me talking about, because now we're free from the controls of what the media has been trying to force down our throats for so long. Now we're free to choose, free to believe in our own truths, and not the fears that society and the world tries to control us with. And they have been trying to control us through fear. So, as I'm saying, freedom is Freedom is what we all need and want. All the wars that have plagued the world have essentially been about freedom. Now, another huge thing that is going to be happening the month of January is that Saturn is going to change signs. It's going to change from Capricorn, which Saturn transited back into Capricorn, between mid-July through January 17th. So during that time, as Saturn backtracked through the sign of Capricorn, it went back and pulled up, remember retrograde planets, and going back into a sign that it was previously, is digging up a lot of old things about what? Around the world, government affairs. Capricorn is all about government. So is Saturn, about the controls and the restrictions and limitations that government has put on us. And it's gone back to clear the air about some things that were left undone. But now we have Saturn. It's going to enter into Aquarius, which it was in Aquarius for a very brief time between April and July of 2022, only a few months. But now it's going into Aquarius where it will stay for 2 years, beginning January 17th. This is wonderful because Saturn in the sign of Aquarius is going to bring a new awareness. Most of all, Aquarius is the sign of humanity and unity. And that is what we need so severely right now with all of the polarization that the last few years, since the virus has come about, and even before that, there's been so much polarization and separation. And Saturn in the sign of Aquarius will bring humanity together with the common thread of how we can get to solutions that we need. Instead of just blaming and talking about our problems, we're going to get to causes and resolutions that are going to bring us unity. And furthermore, let me say about Saturn being in Aquarius, for the most part, while it's in Aquarius in the next couple of years, it will be in the nakshatra called Shatabhishak. That nakshatra is called the 100 Healers. And this actually denotes that there will be some new cures for disease. And it's also called the Sky Watcher, which can deal with new technologies with space and travel. This is going to be a time of major inventions and progressions for our society. But most of all, a healing. There's going to be some healings for some diseases that we could not find answers to. Now, this could be cancers or growths, but when I think about hard to cure diseases, which is actually what this nakshatra is all about, I think of mental disease because probably the mind is what we least understand and how to cure diseases of the mind. And one that afflicts almost every family in the world, someone in their family, a relative, has problems with addictions. And this is a problem, especially with the rampant drug use that's been going on and infiltrating into our societies to destroy. So healings with addictions, disease, mental disease will be on the forefront. And in the next couple of years, we will have many answers we've never had before to heal our society and heal our people. So the next thing I want to talk about that's going to be happening in 2023 is starting January through April, transiting Jupiter is going to speed up and finish out the last and final sign of the zodiac and the last degrees of the zodiac, which is in Pisces. Pisces is the sign that is, of course, the last and final sign. But Pisces deals specifically with beliefs. And that's why I've been talking about our beliefs are changing. This is huge in terms of what we understand about our society, each other, and the world. What are our beliefs? They're based on our past and our conditioning. And beliefs are wedged into deep emotions. And religious beliefs are very, very powerful and have controlled the masses for many, many years. And we're waking up to the truth behind a lot of these beliefs. But what I have found to be very interesting is that religion and politics is very similar based on the fact that what we believe is what kind of political realm we're pulled into. Let me just say, politics and religion are based on our beliefs, okay? And our beliefs run deep with emotion. And they're triggered when other people disagree with us. So this is what we have to start looking at. What are our true beliefs? And when I think about Jupiter in Pisces, it's bringing up and casting the light to see truly what we believe in and what our beliefs are about. And most of all, to heal them. Because remember, a belief is not necessarily the truth, but it is the individual's truth that has that belief. But one thing I want to point out is what you believe in, what your truths are what you attract to you in life. So if what you are feeling and what you are attracting to yourself in this life is not what you want, you better start looking deeper into what you believe in and what you dwell on and think about and feel about, because you have the ability to change it if you don't like what your experience is. Because beliefs will change throughout our lives. So Jupiter is the planet that deals with expansion, belief, and most of all, freedom. Because freedom to choose our thoughts and freedom to choose what we think and what we believe is paramount this year. As Jupiter finishes up its cycle through the last and final sign of the zodiac, there is a lot of things that will come to completion and fruition and be complete by the time Jupiter goes into the very first sign of the zodiac, Aries, which will be happening April 21st, 2023. Now, Jupiter stays in a sign for a solid year, and it will be in Aries for 1 year from April 21st of 2023 till May 1st of 2024. Now, always remember, I am a sidereal Vedic astrologer. What I'm talking about are the true placements of where the planets are in the sky, not the tropical Western placements. This is astronomically correct. So Jupiter going into the sign of Aries, what a relief. It's a new beginning. It's a new start. It's fresh. We will awaken to seeing things not from the past, but from a whole new perspective, because as Jupiter finishes out its transit in Pisces, this will finish out the old beliefs and the past to begin a new beginning of what we believe and future remedies to all of our past problems. Now, another thing I need to talk about. This is so important, and I'm going to do an entire video on this. And this is the Pluto return for the United States of America's chart. You see, if we look at the chart for the United States, the one that I use is the signing of the Declaration of Independence. This is huge because it takes Pluto approximately around 244 years to go through all 12 signs of the zodiac. And Pluto is returning now in the chart for the United States of America. Now, what does this mean? Well, Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth. So something is really happening in the United States that is causing an ending, a death, but a transformational rebirth. And that is exactly what is needed for things to change so that we can find freedom. Because let me just say, if the media in the world, and this is more than just the United States, is controlled by an elite few that are the richest people of the world, but they know how to control the masses through the media, we aren't free. But now we're going to experience a new opportunity for freedom. Let me just say this, the United States was founded on the concept of freedom. Freedom particularly in religion. Remember this, the Statue of Liberty was put there as a reminder of freedom, and that from that point the United States was opportunity. It was the true place of a new opportunity. Why? Because in Europe at the time, when people escaped Europe, they were actually escaping religious persecution and persecution of science and involvement of thought. Do you realize that they put Galileo in prison because he told them the possibility that the earth was round instead of flat? This was the ignorance that they were escaping from Europe to the United States. And America from that point to give freedom from religious persecution or progress in scientific thought, this was a breeding grounds for new religions, for those who escaped this persecution. But I want you to know that this became the breeding ground of all sorts of new religions, because what do people do? They bring and they gather their beliefs and they make it into a new religion. So that was, and pretty much religion is based on the concept to free people, to give them a sense of protection. Spirituality, protecting them from the ills and the fears in this world. But actually what happens for the most part is a lot of religions are based on fear, which is the exact opposite of trying to protect you from the evils. So that's fearful. But what everything needs to surmount to, and what I think Saturn going into Aquarius will bring, is the need for unity. So religions that are exclusive and separative and believing their way is the only way, there needs to be unity. That is the true religion of the world, unity and spirituality. And let me just say, the United States, I wanted to read something that some of the forefounders had written at the time that they wrote the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. And quotes from the forefathers. Samuel Adams said, these basic beliefs that constitute, quote, the religion of America are the religion of all mankind. And Thomas Jefferson called these basic beliefs the principles, and he said, in which God has united us all. So the United States was to free us from the condemnation of certain beliefs and give us freedom. It is the land of opportunity originally, because it was based on a new idea, but we have pretty much digressed because there is so much, well, I think religion has become political biases that constitute persecution on both sides. There is such a division right now. This political bias is what is actually destroying the country and the world by separation. This cannot continue. It is definitely the worst and most destructive force that has been going on lately around the world. So now I want to talk about how the freedom ties into this, because we have freedom of thought. We have freedom to be who we are. It doesn't matter what country you live in. Everyone wants to be free of the controls of society. And I gotta say that everyone around the world, they are definitely losing their hope in world leaders, because world leaders around the world are descending in popularity, because we're losing our hope in the ability of our leaders to make decisions that help the world instead of separate and tear our world apart and tear us apart from our family and our friends. It's about time that things come together, and this year is a start. The Pluto return is what we need, because it's about death and rebirth. It won't be easy. It is. To have something reborn is painful, but this is what we're going through. So belief in our freedom, unity will be what will free us. And so, as I said originally, I want this year for everyone to be about finding your own individual freedom, being who you are. And most of all, what that means is listening to your heart, going within your intuition. No longer can you live your life according to how others dictate and tell you how to live. This is the year of finding you, finding your independence, finding what makes your heart sing and following it. Not doing what other people tell you you should be thinking or doing or believing. This is finding truth, your truth. This is the year that it will happen. I want to tell you something about Steve Jobs. I want to tell you about when he gave his speech to the Stanford University in the year of 2005. He gave one of the most inspirational and moving speeches ever. And it was because he knew he was dying and his time was short on planet Earth. And so his heartfelt, inspirational speech, I want to give you some of what he said to the students that day and for all students around the world. He said, number one, find what you love. Death makes you aware of what is important since your time is limited. Don't waste time on someone else's dream. Have courage to follow your heart and intuition. Everything else is secondary. This is a fact. This is the truth. And this is what we must always remember. And when you do sign up for my free newsletter, you're going to get all of this in greater detail from his speech. So here is what I surmise out of Steve Jobs' message to the students. Pretty much in this important message, Steve Jobs was here to teach. He said, follow the guidance of your inner spirit, which is your connection to truth, and you will discover your path. If we spend more time doing that which we don't love, then we're following mass consciousness, the dogma of others' beliefs that we feel forced to follow. This gives a life of mediocrity, which will never lead to true happiness. For we are all here to live our highest dreams and expectations. We fall off the path when we lose trust in our own inner guidance. The road may be bumpy, but we must have faith and trust. Because even though we may not see the entire destination, we must trust that everything that has meaning will lead us to our destiny. Mass consciousness is based on fear and limitation, yet our spirit is full of expansive possibilities and prosperities for our own future. As we approach 2023 and the new year, I want you to really take this message to heart and follow your guidance, your inner guidance. Follow your heart, because this is your truth, and your truth is what's important to you. And this is the year that it will all become possible, because as I see Jupiter going into the first beginning new sign of the zodiac in Aries by the end of April, all of this will be a reality. And I see the world changing for the better, and especially for the better for each of us deep within our hearts. Because make this the year that you achieve and you come to your ultimate dream, which you have always imagined for your life. There is no better time for you to move forward with this than this year. And so my final words to everyone here for the new coming year of 2023. May this be your New Year's resolution to follow your heart, your intuition, to find your ultimate dreams for this year. So with that, I will conclude. Happy New Year from the bottom of my heart to yours. So remember, if you want to learn Vedic astrology with me, I want you guys to know it is a new big deal that I'm starting the University of Vedic Astrology's first class again. And I want everyone to know it is on sale. We have a cut rate price right now just for a short time. So go to universityofvedicastrology.com and we will all come together in the pursuit to learn Vedic astrology. Come together with the university and join a brand new community of like-minded people for 2023. Thank you.